You check your blood pressure, and the number looks normal, so you assume everything is fine. But you still feel a little off sometimes. A bit dizzy, a bit tired, not quite steady. Here's what many people don't realize. That single number may not be telling the full story. Because blood pressure isn't just one fixed number. It changes, throughout the day, in ways most people never see. And this is where it gets important. There's a pattern that often gets missed, especially after 60. A small shift that doesn't show up during routine checks, but can explain why you feel different, even when everything looks normal. So what exactly is being missed? Here's something simple you can notice starting today. Pay attention to how you feel right after you stand up. If you feel even slightly lightheaded, that moment matters, because it can reveal a hidden drop in blood pressure, one that often goes unnoticed during regular checkups. Hello, I'm Dr. Robert Miller. I've spent many years helping older adults understand how everyday changes in the body can quietly affect long-term health. And blood pressure is one of the most misunderstood. If you're someone who checks your blood pressure, or has ever been told, it's fine, but still feels symptoms, this is worth understanding. In this video, we're going to uncover something important, not just what your blood pressure is, but how it behaves. Because sometimes, the pattern matters more than the number. Let's start simple. Blood pressure is the force of blood pushing through your arteries. In other words, it's how strongly your blood moves through your body with every heartbeat. You'll usually hear two numbers. The top number, systolic, that's the pressure when your heart pushes blood out. The bottom number, diastolic, that's the pressure when your heart relaxes between beats. So your heart is constantly working in a rhythm. Push, then rest. Push, then rest. Now imagine your blood vessels like flexible pipes. When you're younger, those pipes are soft and responsive. They expand easily when blood flows through them, and then gently return to normal. It's a smooth, balanced system. But as we age, those pipes become a bit stiffer. Not damaged, not blocked, just less able to stretch. This might sound familiar. Have you ever noticed that your body doesn't adjust as quickly as it used to? Whether it's standing up or recovering after activity, your blood vessels behave in a similar way. They don't respond as quickly as before. So now, your body has to work harder to keep blood flowing smoothly. Think of it like water moving through a garden hose. If the hose is soft, the water flows evenly. But if the hose becomes stiff, the pressure inside can rise more easily. And here's the deeper part. When arteries lose flexibility, the pressure doesn't just increase. It can also become less stable. It may go up quickly or change more throughout the day. And this is the part most people miss. It's not just about whether your blood pressure is high or normal. It's also about how well your blood vessels adjust moment by moment. And this is where it becomes important, because that stiffness can quietly change how your blood pressure behaves throughout the day, even if your readings look fine at first glance. Let's start with something very common. You're sitting, then you stand up. It feels like a small, simple movement, but inside your body, a lot is happening in that moment. Have you ever felt a brief wave of lightheadedness? Maybe things go slightly dim for a second, or you feel the need to pause before taking a step. This might sound familiar. Some people even reach for a chair or the wall just to steady themselves for a moment. This can happen when your blood pressure drops suddenly on standing. Here's what's supposed to happen. When you stand up, gravity pulls blood down toward your legs. Your body quickly senses this and tightens your blood vessels slightly, while your heart adjusts its rhythm. All of this happens within seconds. It's like an automatic balancing system. But with age, that response can slow down. Not because something is wrong, but because the system is a little less responsive. Think of it like a dimmer switch. When it's new, it adjusts instantly. Over time, it still works, but just a little slower. So for a few seconds, less blood reaches your brain, and that's why you feel dizzy. Let me ask you something. Do you ever feel this more in the morning or when getting out of bed? That's very common, because after lying down, your body needs a moment to readjust to standing. And this is where it becomes important. These short drops in blood pressure may only last a few seconds, but they can increase the risk of losing balance or even falling. And this is the part many people miss. Your seated blood pressure might look completely normal. Everything may appear fine during a routine check. But this drop, this brief change when you stand, never gets measured. And yet, it may explain exactly why you feel the way you do. Now here's something interesting. At night, your blood pressure is supposed to go down. This is called dipping. In simple terms, your body shifts into a quieter, resting mode. Your heart doesn't have to push as hard, your blood vessels relax, and everything slows down slightly. It's like turning down the lights at the end of the day. This rest period matters more than most people realize, because it gives your heart and blood vessels time to recover from the day's work. But in many adults over 60, this dip becomes smaller, or sometimes it doesn't happen at all. This might sound surprising. You're asleep, you feel like you're resting, but inside, your system may still be working harder than it should. Let me ask you something. Do you ever wake up feeling tired, even after what seemed like a full night of sleep? Or feel like your body didn't fully reset overnight? That can sometimes be a clue. Think of it like a machine that's meant to cool down overnight. If it keeps running at a higher level, even quietly, it doesn't get the same recovery time. And over time, that can add extra strain. This is where it becomes important, because if your blood pressure doesn't dip properly at night, your heart and blood vessels may not get that essential break. And this is the part most people miss. Daytime readings can still look perfectly normal. Everything may seem under control during a checkup, but what happens at night is rarely measured. And yet, that hidden pattern may play a big role in how your body feels the next day, and over time. Earlier, we talked about blood vessels becoming less flexible. Let's build on that in a simple way. Your arteries are meant to stretch slightly every time your heart pumps. That stretch helps soften the pressure and keeps blood flowing smoothly. But over time, those arteries can become stiffer, not blocked, not damaged in a dramatic way, just less able to expand. Think of it like a balloon. A new balloon stretches easily when you fill it with air, but an older, thicker balloon doesn't expand the same way, so the pressure inside builds up more quickly. The same idea applies here. When arteries stiffen, the top number, systolic, may go up, because your heart has to push harder to move blood through less flexible vessels. At the same time, the bottom number, diastolic, may stay the same, or even go down, because the vessels are not holding pressure as well between heartbeats. And this creates a wider gap between the two numbers. This might sound familiar. Have you ever seen a reading where the top number seems high, but the bottom number looks normal? That difference matters more than many people realize. That gap is called pulse pressure. You don't need to remember the term. Just think of it as the distance between the two numbers. And this is where it becomes important. A wider gap can mean your blood vessels are under more strain with each heartbeat. Over time, that extra strain can affect how efficiently your heart and circulation work together. And this is the part most people miss. You might focus only on whether your numbers are in range, but the pattern between those numbers can quietly tell a deeper story about your vascular health. Let me ask you something. Have you ever checked your blood pressure at home and gotten a very different reading than at the clinic? Maybe it was higher one time, lower another, or just not what you expected. It can feel confusing. You might wonder, which number is the real one? But here's something important to understand. That difference might not be random. Your blood pressure responds to your environment, how relaxed you are, what time of day it is, even how long you've been sitting quietly. Think of it like taking a photo. One snapshot can look very different depending on the lighting and the moment, and your body works the same way. That's why patterns over time often matter more than a single reading, and this is the part most people miss. Now let me share something from real life. I once spoke with a 68-year-old gentleman. His readings at the clinic were always good. Every visit, same result. So naturally, he assumed everything was fine. But he kept feeling dizzy when getting out of bed in the morning. At first, he brushed it off. He told himself, "This is probably just part of getting older." This might sound familiar. Many people accept these small symptoms without looking deeper. But when we checked his blood pressure in different positions, sitting and then standing, we saw something important. It dropped significantly when he stood up. Not for long, just a brief moment, but enough to reduce blood flow to the brain. That small pattern explained everything. And this is where it becomes important. Without checking that change, his numbers would have continued to look normal. Now here's another example. Another patient, a 72-year-old woman, had normal readings during the day, nothing unusual, but she often woke up feeling tired, even after what seemed like a full night's sleep. She couldn't quite explain it. No pain, no obvious problem, just a sense that her body hadn't fully rested. Let me ask you, have you ever had nights like that? You sleep, but still wake up feeling off? In her case, later testing revealed something subtle. Her blood pressure wasn't dipping at night. Instead of lowering, it stayed closer to daytime levels. So even while she was asleep, her system wasn't getting that recovery time. And this is the part many people overlook. You can feel something is off, even when routine numbers look fine. Her body wasn't getting the rest it needed. And once we understood that pattern, everything started to make more sense. So what can you do? Start simple. You don't need anything complicated, just a few small habits that support your body's natural rhythm. 1. Move gently when changing positions. When you get up, pause at the edge of the bed for a few seconds. Let your feet touch the floor. Take a breath, then stand slowly. This gives your body time to adjust before gravity shifts your blood downward. Think of it like letting a car warm up for a moment, instead of pressing the gas immediately. Have you ever stood up too quickly and felt that brief wave of dizziness? That pause can make a real difference. And this is where it becomes important. A few seconds of patience can help prevent sudden drops in pressure and reduce the risk of losing balance. 2. Stay hydrated. Dehydration can make blood pressure drops worse. Even mild dehydration, the kind you might not even notice, can affect how your body regulates pressure. When there's less fluid in your system, there's less volume for your blood to circulate, so your body has a harder time maintaining steady pressure. This might sound familiar. Do you ever feel more tired or lightheaded on days when you haven't had enough to drink? That's not a coincidence. Keeping fluid steady throughout the day helps your circulation stay more stable. 3. Light daily movement. Walking, stretching, gentle activity. These help keep your blood vessels more responsive. When you move regularly, your vessels stay more flexible, and your body gets better at adjusting to changes. It doesn't have to be intense. Even a short daily walk or simple stretching at home can support how your body manages blood pressure. Think of it as keeping the system tuned so it responds more smoothly. 4. Monitor at home, but with awareness. Check at different times: morning, afternoon, evening, and occasionally after you've been sitting, then standing. Not obsessively, just enough to notice patterns, because this is the part most people miss. It's not about chasing a perfect number. It's about understanding how your body behaves. Let me ask you something. Have you ever seen your readings change depending on the time of day? That variation can be meaningful. And when you start noticing those patterns, you begin to understand your body in a deeper way. Certain foods can support healthy blood pressure patterns, not in a dramatic overnight way, but in a steady, supportive way over time. Think of food as something that helps your body regulate itself more smoothly. Leafy greens, like spinach, provide potassium, which helps balance pressure. Potassium works quietly in the background, helping your body manage sodium levels and support more stable blood flow. This might sound familiar. Have you ever noticed that after eating lighter, fresh foods, you feel a bit more balanced, less sluggish? That's not just digestion. Your circulation responds too. Beets. They support blood vessel relaxation. In simple terms, they help your blood vessels open up a little more easily, so blood can flow with less resistance. You don't need large amounts. Even small, regular portions, like beet juice or cooked beets, can support this effect over time. And this is where it becomes important. When your vessels relax more easily, your blood pressure doesn't have to spike as much. Foods rich in magnesium, like nuts and seeds, also support better vascular function. Magnesium helps your muscles relax, and that includes the muscles in your blood vessels. Think of it as helping your system stay calm and steady, rather than tight and reactive. And this is the part many people miss. It's not about one superfood. It's about consistent, simple choices that gently support how your body regulates pressure day by day. These changes don't happen overnight, and that's actually a good thing, because your body responds best to steady, consistent support, not sudden, extreme changes. Think of it like building strength slowly. You don't see results in a day, but over time, the improvement becomes clear. Over a few weeks, you may notice more stability. Maybe you feel a little less lightheaded when standing. Maybe your readings look a bit more consistent. This might sound familiar. Small changes that are easy to overlook, but meaningful when you pay attention. And this is where it becomes important. Those early shifts are signs that your body is adapting. Over a few months, your body may respond more smoothly. Your blood vessels become more responsive. Your pressure adjusts more naturally, and daily fluctuations may feel less noticeable. It's not about perfection, it's about better balance. And long term, these small habits can support better heart health. Not through one big change, but through many small ones working together. And this is the part most people miss. Consistency matters more than intensity. What you do gently, day after day, often has the greatest impact over time. Here's something important to understand. A typical doctor visit is brief. There's usually a lot to cover, and only a limited amount of time. So blood pressure is measured once, while you're sitting still, relaxed, in a controlled setting. That gives useful information, but it's only one moment in time. Think of it like taking a single photo. It captures what's happening right then, but it doesn't show what happens before or after. And your body changes throughout the day. It responds to movement, to meals, to stress, even to how well you slept the night before. Have you ever noticed how different you can feel in the morning compared to the evening? Your blood pressure follows those same shifts, and this is where it becomes important, because a single reading can miss those changes completely. It might look perfectly normal in that moment, even if your pressure drops when you stand, or stays higher than expected at night. And this is the part most people miss. It's not that the reading is wrong, it's just incomplete. So a single reading is just a snapshot, not the full picture. If you experience frequent dizziness, fainting, or unusual symptoms, it's important to speak with your doctor, not just once, but if it keeps happening or starts to affect your daily routine. Because while occasional lightheadedness can happen, repeated episodes are worth checking. This might sound familiar. Have you ever had to stop what you were doing just to steady yourself for a moment? Or felt unsure when getting up too quickly? Those are signals your body is giving you, and this is where it becomes important. Some symptoms may be related to blood pressure changes, but others can have different causes, so it's important not to assume. Your doctor may want to check your readings in different positions, or at different times, to get a clearer picture, especially before making major changes. Whether it's adjusting medications, changing diet, or starting a new routine, it's always safer to do it with proper guidance. Because the goal is not just to improve numbers, but to do it in a way that's safe and steady for you. And if some of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many people experience these changes as they age. In fact, it's one of the most common patterns I see. Small shifts that don't always get talked about, but are very real. This might sound familiar. You feel something is different, but you can't quite explain it. And because the numbers look okay, it's easy to dismiss your own experience. But your body is giving you information. And this is where it becomes important. Not every change means something is wrong. Sometimes, it simply means your body is adapting, and it needs a slightly different kind of support. So if you've been noticing these signs, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means your body is changing and asking for a slightly different approach. And once you understand that, you can respond to it in a calm, informed, and confident way. The goal is not perfection, it's awareness. Understanding how your body responds and paying attention to small signals along the way. Because you don't need to get everything just right to see improvement. Small adjustments, made consistently, can make a meaningful difference over time. This might sound simple, but it's powerful. Let me ask you something. Have you ever made a small change and later realized it helped more than you expected? That's how the body often works, not through big, sudden shifts, but through steady, repeated habits. And this is where it becomes important. When you start noticing patterns and responding to them early, you give your body a better chance to stay balanced. Over time, those small steps add up, and what feels minor today can support your health in a lasting way. Now I'm curious, have you ever noticed changes in how you feel when standing up, or at different times of the day? Maybe a slight dizziness, or a difference between morning and evening. This might sound familiar, something small that you've noticed, but never really thought much about. Take a moment and think about it, because these little experiences often tell a bigger story. And this is where it becomes important. When you share what you've noticed, it not only helps you become more aware, it can also help someone else realize they're not alone. So let me know in the comments. Your experience might help someone else understand their own.